You were live. Okay, fine. Huh. Okay. Thought I was going to have a technical glitch at the worst possible time, but it appears that they StreamYard fixed it. Okay. So Monday. Where's my placard? The thing I usually show. Let me see. Do I have something like that? Artboard. I don't think I have it. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway, I usually show the Blue Boy Brown placard, so I don't have it today. But what I do have is a very long video of me working over the weekend. And I finished page 102, coloring it, and then I started doing word balloons and dialogue and tweaking images in Photoshop and then reloading it into Illustrator and doing all types of stuff. And then exporting it to screens in Illustrator so that it could be uploaded to my blueboybrown.com website. And that's where it is right there, down here in the bottom. You see that banner? That's where I am right now. Page 100 to page 103 is out as of 4 a.m. this morning. And so we're starting to cook with gas. We're going to start accelerating things, get the book finished. Got 148 pages. So that means I got about 45 pages to go before it's 10 weeks or something like that. Hey, by October, maybe October or early October, we can have this whole thing done. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. So now we go to that. Now let's start this whole thing up. Instead of me yammering on, there I am. Okay, now I'm going to take away the sound because a lot of the times I don't even talk. So here I am. I have drawn this. I had a video of me drawing it, I believe, a day or so before that. And now I have to color this sucker. And so, as usual, I've got my border area up there on the top. And then I've got my I got a tonal area, and then I've lightened the tones in some parts so that I can get three simple values: black, this yellowish beige tone, and then white. And now I'm starting to color on the color layer. And in a little while, I have this whole thing colored, and then I'll go off to start working on putting in word balloons. And, people are really pros at doing this, and obviously I'm not hiring myself out to do coloring, so I can do any dang thing way I want to. Is you do discrete shapes where all of the discrete shapes are, like the hat, the face, the beard, the coat, da 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 da. You outline them with a lasso tool, and you fill them with some arbitrary color. It enables the colorist to just go in there and select that one section. Because they've selected it, only that section will actually color. So you can manipulate it any way you want to. But I don't do it that way. Because usually when you're doing flats like that, you're actually doing them for somebody else or for colorist to the main colorist to work on it. Since I'm the main colorist and I do everything. I just do it as if I was doing a digital painting. And it's much simpler than doing a digital painting, which I started doing many, many, many years ago in Painter, which has gone through a lot of different owners since then. I have in my old laptop, I've got Corel Painter 10, I think. Bought it a long time ago off of Amazon and started doing paintings, digital paintings that way. Just just as a hobby back then. So back in the late '90s, I started using Corel Painter. I don't know if it was Corel owned it back then. Corel's bought a lot of stuff. I've forgotten who owned it, and they. So I did a lot of painting, and the cool thing about Painter is you can do this clone thing where you can it's almost like painting with oils, except you don't have to mess with turpentine or mineral spirits or drying. Drying in oil paints. Boy, that's a lot of fun. Unless you work in Alla Prima, then it's cool. But you know something, work Alla Prima, you better know your color theory. Otherwise you're going to get mud real quick. Anyway. So I'm getting the flesh tones first thing. If you hear a bunch of banging, they're doing construction work on the outside of my house. Replacing all the eaves and what they call soffits. And it's a 75-year-old house, so it's about time we did that. Otherwise, you have to always be doing. So, oh yeah, I've got to do this. I'll probably do this thing tomorrow, since it's page 113. It's not like it's right on the horizon, so I'll do that. I'll finish this thing up tomorrow. Pretty sure that's what I'll be doing. Except I played around with this today. I'm not sure if I actually did what I'm showing you right now. I may have erased the whole dang thing. It's a little too dark. It's a little too dark. His jacket is actually a lot lighter and brighter than that. So I think what I do is I seek to find that color without having to open up all my other all the pages that he's featured. And so I go through that. Let me see. I figured out that's a lot easier way to do that. I just use the paint bucket. Yeah, okay. So now I got the proper color for that. It's a lot. There was a lot more banging and everything on Saturday. On Saturday, they were working on the eaves right next to my computer area. I thought they might make a mess, but they didn't. The mess was made when they actually replaced the roof right over my head. That created a mess. There's debris everywhere. Just, little dirt and junk like that. Cleaned all that up, and now we're back in here. And in Florida, we have what's called Florida rooms. I don't know if they do it anywhere but Miami. But it's just it's a den with windows all around. So you can look outside and enjoy the scenery without getting too overheated. It gets hot here. Not as hot. It's not as bad as New York City. New York City in August is far worse than Florida because we get ocean breezes, and all you guys get is concrete. Poor guy. I lived there, so I know what I'm talking about. August was always bad, really bad. I think, yeah, the August of '88 was one of the worst Augusts I've ever had. Um, no air conditioning. I was in the next to top floor of Willoughby Hall at Pratt, and no air conditioning. Two, not a thing. And it was so hot. Oh man, it just never got cool. And didn't have a fan. I should have gone and bought a fan, but I think it was broke, which is some of the things that happens when you're in school is you run out of money almost immediately. And what's I doing back then? I was working at Utrecht. Thank God I got to go to Utrecht every day and during the summer and getting their air conditioning. It didn't matter if you were heaving hoe in boxes and stuff like that. At least you got to be in air conditioning all day long. And you got a 20% discount on art supplies. Nothing like that. I still get close to a 20% discount on art supplies at Utrecht, except it's Dick Blick now, because they give teachers and all. By the time you get finished with all your discounts, it's like working for them. Well, they got to find some way of getting you not over to Jerry's, which is in the same town here. Here in town, we have Jerry's, and just opened up a Jerry's um, uh, sort of like a Jerry's warehouse, like where Pearls used to be here in Miami, in South Miami, and that'll be interesting. I'm gonna go over there and take a look what they got. Jerry's got some good stuff. They carry a good line of oil paints and watercolors. A German outfit called Lucas, and it's good stuff. And the cool thing is that they have water miscables um, oil paint made by Lucas, which is, well, it's pretty as good as Winsor Newton's water miscible oil paint, but it's not as expensive. Not as expensive. Well, sorry guys, I ain't a millionaire, so I always look for ways to not spend incredible amounts of money on art supplies, which is why I use a bristle board by Dick Blick. I think I mentioned that to somebody in in one of the Facebook comic book groups. I get their Dick Blick bristle board pads. It's 19 by 25 inches, and you can just cut the 19 by 25 into two 12 and a half by 19-inch areas, and you got two almost perfect size comic book pages that'll easily 10 by 15 will be easy to fit on there, and it's got a real nice surface that really will take a beating. And they have both vellum surfaces, and if you want to just ink on it, they got a smooth surface, which is really good for inking too, I think. And I remember when we were doing underground comics, we didn't. What a bunch of dummies! We used a illustration board, which is hard. It doesn't have a great surface. So it's okay for rapidograph. We were using rapidograph all the time for my underground comics. This when we were doing the superhero fan stuff that you did, which we did before we got into underground comics. Um, we'd use sable brushes, good old Winsor Newton sable brushes, but somehow we just stopped using sable brushes for underground comics. We either use crow quill pens or rapidographs, and I guess rapidographs became the big deal for us. I'm just talking about the guys at Everyman. We were doing it in Colorado, doing underground comics in Colorado. I didn't stay there very long, but I was there for a while. Got a good part of Hobo Stories done, which I disavow. Hobo Stories is a completely sophomoric uh, work by somebody who hadn't lived any life. So people that I've met on Facebook groups and stuff like that say they remember it, but and said they enjoyed it. I says, "Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because it has no real basis in reality." Though it is interesting. It is interesting that I I predicted all of the censorship that would that is just rampant these days in American society. I did predict that in that book. The only thing I got right. Oh well, I thought it would come from the John Birch Society. No, it's not. Nah. Anyway, not my problem anymore. That's one of the cool things about being an independent comic book writer, artist, and publisher is you don't want to buy my work? Fine, but you can't fire me. Sorry, you can't fire me. Anyway, I don't say anything super controversial anyway. I'm just talking about a country family who cuts down trees. And I think the story's, eh, we'll see what people think about the story. Do 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 da 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 da. Yeah, I'm looking at it. So, thank you, Mauricio Vargas M, for the like. That's who did it. I was wondering who did the like. You're asking for suggestions on Friday for people who want to get into comics. Depends on what kind of comics you want to get into. If you want to do superhero comics, that's a rarefied thing. They just fired a bunch of people at DC. DC just let people go. Is like uh, let a whole lot of people go. And I read some. I put it up on my Facebook page, an article in the Hollywood Reporter in which they interviewed Jim Lee, the former publisher at DC. They demoted him to something or other. He's still got a creative thing going on, and he puts a real good spin on it. You don't know how much he's saying because he's trying to be diplomatic because he works for these people. But let me see, AT&T, my cell phone provider, I'm getting rid of real soon. They bought Warner Brothers some time back, so that those kind of shakeups happen when the corporate takeovers happen. And it's not the DC of my youth when it was run by Mort Weisinger and Neil Adams fought them tooth and nail to get artists some kind of right to keep their own work and not have it thrown away, which was what they used to do. They used to throw away artist pages. Think of all the artist pages that should be in the cartoonist museum up in Fort Lauderdale or Boca Raton. I think it's Boca Raton. There's a cartoonist museum. Those things should be there instead of burnt in a. Back then they just burnt things. They didn't put them in dumpsters. Neil Adams is the guy who tried to get first one to try to get artists to stand up for themselves and against these big guys who didn't give a hoot about them. And that was a heck of a note in the history of comics. And Adams really did artists a great turn. He's going to go down in the history of comics not only just for the reinvigorating of comics that he did back in the late 60s, early 70s, but also for what he did for his fellow cartoonists who were being treated horribly. And of course, my uncle Bill, he's my grandfather's brother, he organized a B.F. Goodrich tire plant in Miami, Oklahoma, in the last century. It was earlier part of the last century, so he would have been the 20s and 30s or something like that. I don't know exactly when. They came after them with you know, bricks and bats and stuff like that. It was not much fun being a union organizer back then. Fortunately, Neil Adams wasn't doing manufacturing. There wasn't a thing where he was going in and striking and everything like that. He was just trying to get artists the right to own their work after they, you know, it's maybe okay, it's work for hire, but let us have it back so we can maybe make a little extra money on selling the originals, or keep them for our kids, things like that. And there was some union busting going on at DC that they did, which I won't get into. It's not really, doesn't have anything to do with me, but that's always the way it is. Better what DC did than what B.F. Goodrich did. Poor Uncle Bill got his head busted a few times. But hey, it's better than what the Carnegie Corporation did under uh, what was it? Frisk, under Frisk. Carnegie was in Scotland fooling around because he was making more money than Carter's got little liver pills, and he didn't have to work at anything. He left Frisk in charge, and they had a union organizing at the Carnegie steel mills, and Frisk hired, I think it was some famous detective agency. It was anyway. They went there and killed a bunch of people. Um, yeah, unions have. It was tough to be a member of a union, but comic book union, well, all you had to do is basically just, you know, put up with a bunch of hooey. But he did change everything. So kudos to Neil Adams forever. And hey, one of the coolest things that ever happened to me as a comic book fan and artist and everything like that was uh, a girlfriend that I had in New York. Her brother worked for Neil Adams at his ad agency, and I went up there to visit him once, and lo and behold, I get to meet Win Mortimer. And that was just such a huge deal for me. I was in my 30s. You know, I was in my 30s. But Win Mortimer, that was a big deal. I knew who Win Mortimer was. He did all those comic book covers and stuff like that. And he did all types of wonderful things in the 50s and 60s. And I just met him. I said, man, I am a big fan of yours. You are just so incredibly good. And he was an old man by this time. I think he kind of appreciated somebody. But yeah, he probably had that happen all the time when he went to conventions and everything like that. I hadn't been to a comic book convention probably since the mid 70s. And now they got these huge things going on in San Diego and everything. I don't even know what the heck those things are about. I think I get lost in one of those places. When I went to the last comic book convention, the one I remember most was the Comic Con in New York City, 1974. And my whole deal was comic book artists and comic books. That was the big deal. Comic book artists and comic books. The comic book dealers area was where everything was happening. Now there's movies and stuff like that, and everybody goes to the Comic Con in San Diego to hear about movies and everything. Yeah, there weren't any movies back then. 1974? Nope, not a thing. That was like 3 years or so before Superman the movie, and nobody was even thinking about uh, we're ever getting you know, our Superman was George Reeves. I think the only person I really met there, that was this is 1974. I wasn't. I had done hobo stories and failed miserably in getting it published, so I didn't know anybody. I met Jim Steranko there and just said howdy, and he said howdy, and that's about it because there wasn't anybody to talk to. But it was neat meeting Jim Steranko. I haven't really hung out with comic book artists since then, except I do know Ralph Cabrera, but that's because I used to teach his kids in his in middle school, uh, so I know him. But that's it. That's it. And I got a lot of friends online, but face to face, I'm way down here in the uh, on the same latitude as Northern Africa, far away from everybody else. I suspect there's probably a few comic book artists here in Florida. It's a nice place to be to do comics, and you don't have to. You do not have to be in New York City to do comics anymore, because you can upload your work to any cloud, and it's all going to be digital anyway. Heck, that's what I do when I finish these. I upload them to my server. I don't know what the heck the server is. I don't have to know. I just know that it works. And it's at that little blueboybrown.com comic, Blue Boy Brown, page 100. Please go to that. I worked my tail off on that this week. And soon I'm going to start a Kickstarter campaign. As you can see, I'm working my tail off on this thing. It's getting there. We'll see whether or not. Oh, good. Somebody's actually going to. Uh, oh, I got a visitor from India. Good for them. Many years ago, I had lots. I had some really good friends from India. In India, used to uh, talk about some of the issues that actually I'm thinking about now. Right at the just the beginning of the World Wide Web, I knew several people in India. And so I'm trying to use pure colors in each. Um, and I think along the way, I give this guy the wrong hat color and the wrong clothes color because it'd been a while since I had done the page before. So I had forgotten the colors that I used for this guy. Uh, and I think his name is Albert Vardaman. I don't know where I got that name, but I got it somewhere. Or I made it up, found it in the phone book. I don't know. Ever since I found out that Dada artists just opened up an encyclopedia and or a dictionary and got the word Dada, which doesn't mean daddy, it means rocking horse in German, and named their movement that. Well, it's a good way to find. Just look in the phone book and find somebody's name that resonates with you. Though I come up with some squirrely names. I love coming up with weird names for my characters. Beat a bow. So now I got to give this guy a proper color to his. He's not got white hair, so he's got to have a proper color to his whiskers. It's too easy to just give everybody white whiskers in comics, but if you do that, all you got is a bunch of Santa Clauses. Don't want to have that, do we? Oh. So now he's got white lips. That's not going to work unless you're something horrible going on with you. I would hope that nothing horrible is going on with this poor guy. That's good. But yeah, so now he's got one of those mousy brown. I think I keep the mousy brown, but I don't give him the. I change the color of his shirt there. Right there, I had some kind of idea that I would give him the color of like people wearing underwear, long johns. They're peach colored long johns actually were a thing back then, but I think I changed it because it was a little too well. It didn't match the page before that, and then I'd have to go back and change the entire page before that. And I didn't want to do that. Why did I want to do that? So writing and rewriting and redrawing is just that's all I ever seem to do. Now, when I was 20, I could draw. I could always draw. I was fortunate enough to grow up with an older brother who could draw like nobody's business. He was a better artist than I ever was. Just really, really good. He could just draw anything right out of his head, no problem. And unfortunately, he gave it up. But during our entire childhood, we were competing as artists and everything. So I got all the advantages of being able to draw all the time, uh, and working with him until he discovered cars. He kind of moved out of it when he discovered cars because then he started restoring cars. He got himself a '57 Chevy, which back in 1968, 68 or something like that. My dad got him a '57 Chevy. Spent $400 on it. It's a four-door, so it wasn't the top of the. It wasn't what teenagers wanted, but hey, it was a '57 Chevy, and he fixed that thing up. And that was kind of the end of the art world for him because once he figured out he could restore cars and spend $3,000 or $4,000 on it and sell it for $10,000, that was it. That was it for art. It was a lot better, a whole lot less money going through your hands without any return. And I never got over the comics thing because the car thing just didn't resonate with me. I like cars, but I don't live for cars. And now at my age, I'm sort of glad because cars don't do a thing for me anymore. Could care less about cars. Cars for getting here to there. I don't enjoy driving. I don't enjoy any of that stuff. Except maybe long trips, out of town. You go upstate or go up to Cape Canaveral or something like that. That's fun. That's getting out on the interstate and doing stuff like that. But just driving around in town, that's just pain in the tail. And I stopped driving like a madman a long time ago. My brother almost got me killed in his old '57 Chevy's going 120 miles an hour on a little back road. And we turned the corner and there was a stop sign and a T and a one of those. Well, there was nowhere to go after we got to the stop sign. It was coming up upon another road and there was no place to go except over the edge. He barely got that dang thing stopped. That kind of did it for me. Yeah. My brother rode motorcycles for years. I hate motorcycles. I don't hate them per se. I hate getting on them. I don't want to get on anything that I can fall off of and then get hurt. And I'm sorry, not me. If you like motorcycles, it's not a slam against motorcycles. It's saying that I'm a big wimp when it comes to danger, Will Robinson, danger. So I got a few little gaps here I got to fill right over here. Right there, I'm going to have to fill that gap, and I got a little gap here, and I'll get to it. It's coming along, though. I don't want too much color. You want to use chromatic neutrals. You'll notice that I continuously, every time I choose a color, I examine it to see if it has any black in it, because black's not a color. All it can do is produce a shade of a color. And that means you've knocked down an existing color. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes when you want to do some like real dark boots, okay, use a little bit of black in there, or a real dark brick red. Yeah, you gotta have to use a little black. Other than that, leave the black out. You don't need black to get these colors. These colors are chromatic neutrals. You don't need black to do that. It's not necessary. You'll get muted colors that have a range within them. And I just went under that. Yeah, I'm going to grab it on a color there. Yeah. You'll have a bunch of chromatic neutrals that have a color range to them. This is a greenish neutral color. This is a reddish neutral color. And so they will interact with each other. Whereas just add black to it, you're not helping, and you're also muddy. You could get real muddy colors as you, especially when it gets into print. And I'm not crazy about super, real dark pages unless you're doing something which you're using a stark black silhouette or something like that? Are you doing some hatching and cross hatching to get that? I don't like any color that overpowers the drawing. Drawing's what carries the page for me. I don't know what other people think, and I may be wrong. But for me, the drawing carries the design of the page, and you use color to create believable space and focal areas. Smudging that just a little bit so I don't have to mess with, I did some overlapping there, and so I just put some blue back there. I don't think I put any clouds in here. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Maybe nobody will notice. Yeah, I got a while to go before I get finished with this page. One of the cool things about QuickTime, I did all this stuff over the weekend, is that I did them in like 4 clips. And I just opened up QuickTime and added a clip to the end of the first clip, and I got a really, really long QuickTime doohickey that will work out real nice. Because you just add each clip to the end of another clip, and probably a little bit of a break there. But I got rid of the sound. I'm not using the sound on any of these clips because at times I don't say a dang thing for 30 minutes. I'm working on it, and nothing I say is that tremendous during this. Yeah, I did that too. Did I do that other one at the top? Nope, I don't think so. And I do this. I'm gonna just trim that. Yeah, don't want that to stand out too much. Boo da boo da boo. So I'm gonna get there soon. So I'm getting up to page 103. I'm up to about page 113 in my being ahead of the curve. You got to be ahead of your schedule by at least 3 or 4 weeks. In comic strips, it's supposed to be 6 weeks. It's supposed to be 6 weeks to get, because you deliver black and white, and then you got to have them colored and the whole 9 yards, and that takes a little while. What's this? Oh, at one point, I guess I had a problem with what was streaming. I don't know. Because this appears to be pixelating a bit. Didn't last very long. So, again, back to what Mauricio asked me last Friday about young artists. I was out of the comics field for 40 years, so I really can't tell you with any authority what a young comic artist should do. When I was 20 years old, I was hanging out with a bunch of artists, some in Colorado and some in Missouri. Uh, Mostly I was by myself. And But when we were all together in Colorado Springs, we were just playing off of each other, and that's not a bad idea. Is to get with a group of like-minded artists and play off of each other, and critique each other. Try to be nice, because it's not worth being nasty to each other just over, you know, comics. You should be. It's something that I noticed in graduate school. People were so cruel in graduate seminar painting critiques. They were just so cruel. They would say the most horrible things to each other. Do you guys actually think this is going to do anything for you? This high carpet at each other? Uh, eh. So especially in dealing with other artists, you should always be kind. You should always realize this is your brother or sister artist, and um, you're not going to get anywhere in this world trashing them. And if you do, you don't deserve to be where you're at. So try to help. Be like a doctor. Do no harm. Find hard to find a doctor practices that these days, but my doctor does. My doctor's tremendous. Saved my life a couple of times. But just don't be nasty to each other. Don't be nasty. There's no reason to be nasty. Uh, there's there seems to have been some crazy things going on in comics while I was gone. I never was into. I never knew anybody in the comics industry and everything like that. So I don't. All this stuff is like very foreign to me. Just people treating each other so badly in the comics world. What's the point? What's the point? You have a different viewpoint in the world towards me? Uh, there's no guarantee that you're going to be like that the rest of your life. As you get older, your ideas about life change as you have more experience. And if they don't change, then you're, how can I design some character? Well, design a character. First thing you do is develop from primitive shapes. I have a drawing demo. Um, I have a drawing demo that I do, um, and maybe I'll try to show it the next couple of days. I don't think I can get to it today, but um, it's on YouTube. I've got lots of different YouTube uh, channels. None of them. Well, one of them has like 41,000 followers, but it's not because of me. It's because I show some videos that I think are cool, but I don't monetize them or anything like that because they're just real short clips of something that I think are cool, but they don't belong to me, and I just you know. But I'll just show that clip soon. But in designing some character, in designing a character, in drawing it, when you first start drawing, design uh, from primitive shapes, and ovals is the perfect thing. Primitive shapes, though. Uh, there's a Baroque artist named Cambasio, I think Cambasio, that draws from cubes. Pretty wild looking stuff, but he draws from cubes, and he's an interesting person to look at. Let me see if I can. I'm looking. Make sure that yeah, I can keep on doing this without. Uh, Let me see. Okay. Yeah, da 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 da. Not that one. Oh no, I don't have 47. I have 4,700 subscribers. I don't even look at this channel anymore. Oh, here. It's not it either. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. First, in designing a character, you just simply draw. I would just simply draw. It depends on what kind of character you want to draw. If it's if it's a human being, it's just a matter of making them look kind of distinctive, so that you keep on drawing them over and over again without bearing off. You should also do a model sheet. Look at Alex Toth's model sheets. In fact, Alex Toth archive. There's an Alex Toth archive. Brazilian site. Yeah. Pangolin Basement. Blogspot. Yeah. It's yeah, this guy's. But Toth's model sheets. Yeah. Let me see a few more model sheets that are worth looking at. 19, probably the early, the 64. He's doing model sheets. Here's a great one for Johnny Quest. Actually, I'm going to just copy the image address. Here's a great little model sheet by um, by Alex Toth, and he's just wonderful. And it keeps you from veering off into changing the character. Look at his characters. You notice that all his characters are basically simple characters that, but they look kind of cool. And it's just a matter of trying to develop something that's cool. And well, first, tell me what kind of character you want to create, and maybe I can give some type of a small amount of advice. Like when I designed Blue Boy Brown, I just was thinking of my grandfather's. I think he was his little brother, except he wasn't his little brother. He was Blue Boy Brown size. He was huge, and I just thought of this guy, a big, cool looking kid. He was just a wonderful person, and I drew him, and I was thinking of my his face is really just the face of my best friend in graduate school, who's got one of those faces that is just such a nice. He just is such a sweet, nice guy. I've never known anybody who didn't like this guy. So I just drew this character of a guy that I didn't know anybody who just did not completely love this guy. So I I based it on that. So you can see where I'm coming from is that you you want your character to be likable, to be memorable, and it's just a matter of drawing using primitive shapes, ovals in the case of human beings, mostly ovals, and put them together like you were putting together a little Legos thing, and then draw over that armature. Think of um, that stuff being an armature. Let me see. I'm gonna look for Cambasio. Cambasio is I think that's his name. No, no, Luca Cambasio. Yeah, yeah, Luca Cambasio. You might think about trying to draw like that's not too bad. This is just a little drawing that Cambasio did as a precursor to a bigger thing. And this is another one. What's this? Uh, Somehow I think yeah, I'm going to delete that one. Oh, that was me. Okay. I don't know where I got that. Anyway, this is a Cambasio, a few Cambasios. Uh, Struggle with it. It's always a struggle, but I got Blue Boy Brown almost immediately. Uh, and I immediately said to myself, he's got to be wearing short pants because he's 12 years old and he's growing so fast that his mom can't keep him in pants. If she gave him long pants, they'd be up to his ankles anyway. They'd be up to his knees anyway. So why create something that's going to be messed up anyway? So and that becomes one of the little subplots of the story is that he doesn't get any long pants until he stops growing. It's not going to happen for a while. When we start this whole thing, he's 6'8", but it's not giantism. He's not got giantism, which will mess with you. Giantism is not it's not a malady you'd want. You don't want to be that big because it's difficult for the heart to deal with a body that's that large. You won't live very long. My mother, when she was a young girl, she saw a giant. He was like 7'4", 7'6", or something like that. And Walton Giant is what he was called. And he only lived to be 30 or something like that. Poor guy. That's not Blue Boy's condition because they're people his size that play basketball all the time, live to be very old men. So he's just a big kid. Do. And so I use the eraser a little bit here as a tool, and then I'm putting in shadows here. The shadow is also a chromatic neutral. It has no black in it. You have black in it, you're just shading, you're just creating each one of these colors you'll simply turn it into a shade of what that color originally was. And that's not what I want. I don't want just a shade of what that color was. I want it to interact with the color beneath it. So it becomes another neutral color right next to a brighter color, and there you got it. They enables you to do some cool stuff with color. Do 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 do. Oh, I see. Yeah. And I think at this point, I start to realize that I need to figure out who this guy is. Yeah, I gotta go back and uh, remember, remember. It's like, who was it in a Star Trek episode? Yeah, I grabbed McCoy and said, "Remember, remember." Okay, now more. Okay, more shadows. I love these film noir shadows that it's kind of easy to do using this. Doo 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 da 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 da. Well, you're getting tired of me. Boy, I haven't heard any banging going on. They're doing the entire back side of the house, and the front of the house. It looks like they're going to try and get it done today. Woo! Well, I guess if you just remove all the facings, yeah, because in the sides of the house, mostly it's just the horizontal part between the lip of the roof uh, to the side of the house. So it's not that much, and these guys are experts, and so my wife will be back to remind them what they said they were going to do. That's the way she does things. It's noon. Should still be working. So I'm going to go make a little more coffee and make sure the ice maker is still working. I'll be back in a second. But this keeps on running. I'm still working. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm doing that part over there. I'm doing shadows over in that little section there. Maybe I'll make some more coffee. So what am I doing? Uh, Still working on shadows. Where'd my coffee cup go? There it is. So I'm on the bottom. Yeah, I'm working on Paw's nose. Working on Paw's nose. And I kind of trim all that so that his nose doesn't get too weird looking. You want to fit the shadow to the nose. I'm being facetious. 601. Good. Now I put the and it's one of those weird little things. I mentioned it before, and I guess this is connected to what Mauricio was talking about being a young comics artist. Being an independent, I don't have to do it any way that I don't want to do it. So I do everything in a little leather-bound sketchbook that I pick up at Barnes and Noble, which fortunately has a brick and mortar store real close to me. And I have the leather journal. It's a Bombay large brown journal. It's not very big. It doesn't tell me how big it is. I guess I could measure it. It wouldn't be too difficult if I just get off my lazy butt into it. It's about almost 6 by 8 inches. 6 by 8 inches. And that's a real good size. I also have one that I've done my preliminaries, which I also got at Barnes and Noble. That's what is it? It's 8 by 11 and a half. And it's a real good book too. So any of those things. What I like is the fact that they're bound. And so you don't lose them. You don't have them all over the place. And you can make cool changes, and then you can do them page to page, and then you've got facing pages, which is what you have in comic books anyway. And you can figure out whether or not these pages work together. Here I'm feathering that little shadow there. And enables you to plan it. And being that I'm just a guy doing it on his own, I don't have any editor telling me, I don't like that. And I scanned these things. I got myself a 11 by 17 inch scanner at Office Depot. I've been waiting for years for there to be an 11 by 17 inch all-in-one that I could find. And I guess I stopped looking for a while, but they just had this Moose Tech for years. It was the only thing I could find was a Moose Tech. I didn't want it. Somehow I just didn't want it. And I had this little Epson XP430 8.5 by 11 scanner for a long time. And then all of a sudden, boom, I found this 11 by 17 inch on sale at Office Depot. And I went and I got it. It's like half the price of the Moose Tech. And it does everything, including doing high def photorealistic prints, 13 by 19, which I could use later on. Okay. Okay, now. Just put my microphone right up here. I think it works. And this is good. I'm sitting here watching this. It's really convenient because this coronavirus thing, where you don't go out that much and you work from home, means you don't get a whole lot of exercise. My age is a bad thing. So I have these little exercise bands that are great because instead of having a weightlifting machine, which I used to have in my floor room, it was huge, and I would lift weights right there in the old back of my house because I'm not crazy about gyms. And these days, sorry, gyms are out of the question. I don't care how much they clean. But with these exercise bands, you can do everything that you did with an exercise machine that cost me a lot of money. And these things do the same thing with resistance. So you keep yourself from falling apart, which at my age is a real possibility. Anyway. Okay, soon I'm going to figure out. Okay, I'm drawing in the background a little bit. That's a little too plain back there. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Doesn't look too bad, does it? So now I'm going to have to, as soon as I get all that done, I'm going to start looking at that other page and figuring out what I have to do to get those colors to match from page to page. This is like page 102, so it's the left-hand page in a spread. So I got to get that to match the page after that. The page after that's, I like that page a lot. Let me see, what am I doing now? Must have, I don't know about that. Shadow under pause, tip of pause nose, which is, it's one of those things where all this stuff I'm doing are fictionalizations of little snippets from what I researched into the history of my family. And I've taken little snips and I've joined them all together. And that guy's nose right there, that's my father's nose. I recognize that nose. That's my old man's nose. I probably got it from his grandpa, who had a handlebar mustache exactly like that. I have a picture of him from about 1920. I have a picture of him in the 1940s or something like that. Same mustache. So just once it was black, and the other one, it's salt and pepper or gray. Wonderful looking character. If you wanted to do a Wild West character, you make him look exactly like my great grandfather, whose name was James Matthew. I love drawing those little inky dinky marks, those little marks and everything, which I get from my buddy Rembrandt. Once again, nobody's a Rembrandt. Nobody can compare themselves to Rembrandt, but you do your best. You steal from the best stores, that's for sure. Those tiny little things you see, like the beggars. Ah, what an etching. Oh, what a beautiful etching. Beggars at the doorway. Ah, man. What an incredible etching. Okay, now I had to go back over there. Oh, this is some reason. I know. I changed the color of that guy's hat when I was in Illustrator, and I realized that I had some color problems. Okay, I go back. So now I'm working on word balloons, and I over there on the right, you see I have layers. Well, first is the line layer, then the copyright layer, and then the panel one field. That's that little beige field, tint of peach field, and then I separate the field and the text. And I just keep on going. This is how I make a word balloon. It's out of ellipses, and then I put them on top of each other. Then I join them together using the Pathfinder tool, and then I do whatever I'm going to do here, and then I fit. It's 11:23, 11:24. Then I fit the text and the word balloon together, and if I have to, I go up to the word balloon, and I just add more space around the text, which is how you can customize a word balloon so that you don't just get these cookie cutter word balloons that take you more time actually than doing them yourself. And you just put them together and share modes, shape modes in the Pathfinder tool, and then I do a pointer, and I make it a certain size, then I turn it the direction of the person who's ever going to talk, and I lay it in there, and I do the exact same thing that I did with the shape modes. Put them together, and there you got it. And I may have to, I don't know if I'll add a little bit more to that, but we'll see. Anyway, so now he may kiss the bride. Okay, I'm back. I had to talk about the construction that's going on. Got to keep your house in good shape. I want to live here the rest of my life. Well, it's one of the best parts of leaving New York City. You can't buy in New York City unless you're rich. Unless you're super rich, you cannot buy in New York City. Or if you bought, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, if you bought, fine. Place is paid off in 40 years. But now, I can't see how anybody live in New York City. Just so expensive. Even when I was there, you just had to have an incredible amount of money coming in to be able to live nicely in New York. Wonderful place to live. All those dadgum museums, theater, and all that other stuff. Yeah. But it used to be a fairly cheap place to live. Montgomery Cliff had a 3-story brownstone in the 1950s, $40 a month. $40 a month for a 3-story brownstone in the east side. Not the Upper East Side, but the east side, maybe just below Columbus. Still, come on. But when I was living there, to buy an apartment was $400,000, and that was 30 years ago. Now, $1.5 million to buy nothing. So I'm glad I left it someplace a little more reasonable. So here I'm starting to put in it's the panel 1 field I'm sticking in right there. This is page 101. So I did page 100. Now I'm doing the page 101. Got to figure out the color of that. And I think I'll just, I don't think I like that. I don't know if I'd heard of it. And then I have to pick the correct base, typeface, the font, and how it's going to go. It's got to be line in the middle, dot at the sides. Hopefully I figured that out. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay, paragraph, yeah. And then over and over and over again, this dang thing kept giving me this. Yeah, at least I got it that time. During all this time, it kept giving me this little plus sign, which is not what it's supposed to be. So, anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about how, okay, there's not a bunch of superheroes banging heads and stuff like that in my comics, but hey, it's like, I'm an old underground cartoonist, and the only superhero I can think of in the underground cartoons was, Wonder Warthog? I'm just for doing stories. And a huge amount of a large number of comics has nothing to do with superheroes. Superheroes is just a subset of comics. It's a lucrative subset. At least one time it was. I don't know what else is going on. Once I get this thing done, I have to resize it. I have to, yeah, I have to fit it into my field. And that looks like it might fit. Let me see. Maybe I have to enlarge the size of that text field. Yeah, I think that's what I do. Yeah. It's a miracle of digital comics. So now they're chewing tobacco, which I wouldn't chew tobacco for anything. I've known people who chewed tobacco, didn't turn out too well. Uh, but if you're in 1914 and you're talking about people in the in Arkansas, people chewed tobacco. Sorry, guys, they just did. And the first thing, Surgeon General's report was 50 years after this. So they didn't know anything about the dangers of chewing tobacco and mouth cancer and all that other stuff. I got my pretty little dogs in here. He's playing with his little plush toy. It's a lobster. He loves messing with that. And I thought you just spent an hour and a half walking in the heat. Hey, boy. Boy. Come here, boy. Yeah, come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Let me have that thing. Go up here. Go. So people do things in 1914 that we would say, oh, how antiquated, how uncivilized. Well, you know, you have to live then to understand. You have to understand the culture. If it, yeah, I better put this text field in there because I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, yeah. Okay, text field. Okay. What's wrong? Yeah, I know he's playing. I played with him a little bit too. To dicker is to negotiate, if you're wondering. It is an old. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. I've known that term most of my life, so I didn't have to look it up, but yeah, from the dictionary, dicker, verb, North American, engage in a petty argument or bargaining. Treat something casually or responsibly, toy with something. It's here bargaining. They're bargaining. It's an intransitive verb. It is, oh, stop that. It is a, okay. Yeah. Entomologists aren't exactly sure the origins of the verb dicker. However, there is probability that it arose from the bartering of animal hides on the American frontier. Basis of that theory is founded on the noun dicker, which in English can refer to a quality of 10 hides. That word is derived from dicuria, the Latin word for a bundle of 10 hides, and ultimately from the Latin decim, meaning 10. To learn why the month December comes from the Latin word decem, click here. No. In ancient Rome, a decuria became a unit of bartering. The word entered the Middle English as dicker with a Y and eventually evolved to dicker. It's been posited that the verb emerged from the bargaining between traders over dickers of hide, but not all entomologists are sold on that idea. So that comes from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So to dicker is to bargain. To cut a plug, well, it's a plug of tobacco. Plug of tobacco, and then you just sit there and chew and keep your mouth shut because the first one to talk loses. And I join those together, and I do the same thing I did before, which is to lay in a layer for the panel text. I guess I have a few more there that I want to do. And then see if it fits. Okay. So I think one of my goals for this week should be to try to work on the cover of this book, which I've been milling around in my head what to do, because it's got to be, cool. Got to be a cover that makes you want to read the daggum book. What else have a cover? And I don't want it to be like the first page of the comic, which is Blue Boy and Joby looking up in the sky and wondering how they're going to get to the building across the street. And I think what I do here is I enlarge it just a tiny bit. Yep, I enlarge it just a tiny bit, but maybe not so big. Yeah, I don't want it to go over that margin there. Let's see what I do. Okay. But I was going to get this whole thing put together, but I picked up a college class to teach in July and August. Yeah, July and August, which ends this week. So I'll have a week off before the new semester starts. And I pretty much got everything I need to do with the fall semester already set up. So maybe I'll get working on a cover. I should do some variant covers. I know Rick Barry said he would do a cover for me at family rates. I should talk to him. I don't know. We'll see. Got to be able to afford this guy. He's top dollar, big time illustrator. But we've known each other since we were 20, so I'll get the family rate, but see what the family rate is. Okay, now we go on to this. Now that panel there with the spitting out the chewing tobacco, that hasn't got anything in it. It doesn't need anything. So I get off my tail and get to doing this. Let me see. What did I do? Did I go to the bathroom or something? No, I think okay, I can see do I see the cursor going anywhere? Huh. Oh well. Where is it? Where is it? Dang. Okay, panel 5 balloon. Okay, got the panel 5 balloon there. Go for it, bud. Yeah, there I am. I'm doing it. Panel 5 balloon. Now I'm going to actually do something. I got my 3 points, and it's all going to be all right. I use 34 points for my fonts in the web version of this because if I don't, you can't read the words that I've got typed out on a phone. You can read them on a desktop, but as I've done my research, a lot of people are watching these things on their phone. Just I guess that's why Webtoons is a big deal. Because you scroll down, you don't read like a regular page. Sorry. It's the way I do comics, like a page. But if you do any size smaller than 34, man, you just cannot read it on a phone. So I've noticed that with a few people who've done comics uh, and designed them for a desktop page, and then when you look at it on the phone, you can't read it, even though the art may just be outrageously good. If you can't read it, then I don't need that problem. Anyway, so I use 34-point font for this, and I'll go down smaller fonts and use more. I'll do some rewrite in places where I would like to do it when I do the print version, because there's no reason to yeah. So I'm doing if you can read it in front of you, and you've used like say 28 point instead of 34 point, you can put more words in it. I've really had to pare down some of the dialogue and descriptions because it's just not a rough room on the page. So in the print version, I might be able to use a little more descriptive narrative stuff. We'll see. Am I doing that? Yeah, I'm doing it the right one. Sometimes it's hard to grab hold of the edges of that. Okay. Bring it over down there. Just bring it over. Bring it over the edge. For some reason I can do that. Strange. Oh, I see. Yeah. I'm thinking about how in a Photoshop I create this border that masks out everything that's white, but that doesn't pertain to Illustrator, because that all that white and everything is a layer in the first layer. What it says, layer 2. Okay. So, well, we got that. And then panel 6. Panel 5 or panel 6. Balloon. Nope, it's not going to be balloon. It's going to be a field. Yeah, I think I changed that. Changed my mind about it. Yep. And I open that up. And I paste. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I have to go back and find that. To go up here and find that color, which I didn't do before. So, pretty simple matter to go in there. There's my color. Copy it. And then place it in there. And of course, you isolate it. That's not a good idea. And you paste it in there, and then you're okay. At least you try to paste it in there. Okay. And it's got 3 points. Okay, now isolate that. And put in your last text on that field. Waterman's doing the talking. What's that mean? Well, you find out on the next page. I guess I already did page 102, didn't I? Why did I do that? Or did I? No, I didn't do the word balloons and text fields for page 102. I do that next. Okay. What am I looking for? Oh, I'm looking for that. Instead of typing that out, just painting the tail, I just copy it and then I paste it in place. And it's a little bit off, but it's a lot easier than doing it yourself. I already did it once. Why should I want to do it again? Do, and then lock that. Okay, we got that. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on. Okay, did I lock it? Oh, didn't lock it. What'd I do? Oh, here's okay, this is page 103. Oh, I'm going to page 103. I guess I. Oh, there's page 102. Okay. And I did, I think. Huh, what did I do? Did last night, I don't remember. Let me see. I think I may have played around with the color of Pa's jacket. I don't know. Okay, I'd already fixed. I think I'd already fixed that guy's shirt and his overalls, suspenders. So I already did that. So we don't have to mess with that. I don't know when I did it. They're banging on things outside. Oh well. Hey, you got a 75-year-old house in Florida. Doesn't matter what you do, termites are going to get the part of it. And so we're doing some maintenance that'll extend the house's usefulness. So here we go. It's like summer long. It's a summer project just about every year we've lived here. We did something that you have to always be doing something to a house. Yeah, it's them. Oh well. Fortunately, we went with a really top flight roofing company. It's got all types of good recommendations. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but anyway. View. What? What am I doing? Oh. Oh, I'm looking for the. Yeah, I forgot where I put that thing. Okay. Yeah. Up here. Lock that. Add another layer. And there she blows. Loo, 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 loo. So, okay, I'll pick her up this afternoon. You have to work on a kind of um, a balance, a rational balance between uh, the dialect that is used down here in Arkansas and what you can read and make any sense of. I read on one of these one little Facebook group where a guy started reading it and he was kind of put off by the dialect. What are you supposed to do? You know, these people did not speak Elizabethan English, though it's derived from Elizabethan English. This kind of hillbilly dialect is actually closer to Elizabethan English than what you and I speak. Doo doo dow. Okay. And put these two things together and it works. Okay, I'm reading Mauricio. Where did you put that? Oh, you have a technique to choose the colors. Yes, I do have a technique. Um, when you look at the way I choose colors, one thing, something that I noticed through lots of experience that when you're looking at the work of classical artists, you'll find that they mostly use neutral colors for all the construction of space, and then they um, use pure color to create a focal area. Pure color and contrast between light and dark, and pure color and size will create focal areas. Like around here, I'm trying to get the text to show up, and it's not. That drive you nuts, but sometimes that happens. You get rid of all that. Um, and then um, and then where you use pure color, uh, it will naturally stand out because pure color is brilliant and it's noticeable. Um, Red is, of course, the easiest color to create a focal area with, but red is to be avoided if you possibly can because it'll overpower a page. When you use red, you use it to really punch the page. I have one uh, page here in which flowers are falling from the sky onto Blue Boy, and they're all magenta colored, magenta and blood red flowers. But that's a good place to put them because nowhere else do I use red like that in the entire comic. And it's just he's like in this big pile of flowers, and it works there. Use it anywhere else. The red, if you can't use red in two different places on a page because they'll be fighting each other. So I try to avoid red. I learned that the hard way. I used red a lot when I was a kid. Didn't know why I did. Now I do, and it was, of course, me being uh, inexperienced. But and my painting teacher would say, red's a real hard color to use. But I'm not going to tell you why. It's a real, I won't even tell you why. It's a real hard color. I don't even know why I even talk to these people sometimes. It's a real hard color to use. And of course, I should have said, well, why is it real color? But nobody told me. Now I know because I'm a teacher. Let me see. Here, I think I decided, okay, I got to break these two up. I'm going to break this up. It's way too much text in one balloon. So I broke it up and placed it to his left, on the left and on the right. So you got two places, and then so this is a balloon-rich panel. So and in the colors, what I do is since my eventual goal is to do a print version, I do everything in CMYK in Photoshop. In Photoshop, what I'll do is I'll when I open up the color, let me see if I can use my pointer to do it. Right here in Photoshop, there's something very similar to this. Right here, you click on that thing, and it'll open up something like this. And wherever that is, there's a drop down menu there that says CMYK. And what I seek to do is I make sure that K is 0. K is black. You don't want black in your colors because it'll muddy things up. Maybe not on one page, but one of those pages you're going to get awful muddy colors, and it's just going to look drab. And it's much more fun to have all these open colors. And this is something I get from the Impressionists of these kind of open, cool, warm and cool colors interacting with each other. I get that from Monet and Mary Cassatt. Well, I love Mary Cassatt. Boy, I love Mary Cassatt. She's like, boy, she's one of my favorite artists of all time. And so I try to make all these neutral colors, these muted colors. They're all chromatic neutrals. Uh, Chromatic neutral is simply a neutral color that is made from three primary colors. And it's always three primary colors, because if you have two primary colors, you have a secondary color, and that's a pure color. So you want your chromatic neutrals are all going to be made from three primary colors. And those three primary colors will naturally create this muted thing, because the three primary colors put together are a chromatic gray. I don't know how else to explain it. Um, they're not a primary color, they're not a secondary color, and they're not a tertiary color. They can be a tertiary color, because you can get like a yellow orange, but a yellow orange also doesn't have any blue in it, and this you'd have a blue in it, because if it has any type of orange in it, to be a true orange can't be any blue in it. The minute you stick blue in it, it becomes a chromatic neutral, and that's the whole thing. Complementary colors put together create a chromatic neutral. Now, how you blend those complementary colors together, that's the rub, so that you get this spectrum of neutral colors. And then a color like this here stands out along with the contrast. It stands out, and then you got this guy here, white against whatever, and that little thing that'll create a secondary focal area. Then you got a focal area here because the contrast here, and then you just kind of want to distract people with the blue sky. And then, yeah, what are you doing down here, boy? Okay. Oh, I see. Then you get this down here, which is kind of a very uh, it's this is a green that's been knocked down with a little bit of red, and it's a tint of that. And then you have this blue green, which is a tint of that. And then you don't have, and then you have these warm colors. The warm colors are always going to stand out in all this. And you make sure that, unless just in spots, like for shoes, sometimes for shoes, for saddles and stuff like that, I might add some black, so it's a shade of a brown, so that so you get a little darker saddle color. See how they give me a little bit of a trouble occasionally, and you got to redo the circle and get your stroke around, then you copy it, and then okay. Now here, I got to figure out where. Oh yeah, where am I going to put that deal? I'm going to have this guy using a common. Oh no, I'm doing it up here. Okay, I'll wait till I get to the second uh, panel before I talk about that. Okay. Bring that over, and then see if I can get that thing to work together. Okay. So that's my technique for choosing colors, is that I don't worry about RGB, because RGB never seems to really give you any idea whether or not there's black in it. I use CMYK, and because my eventual goal is to create a print version of this, and my web version is my staging area for the book. I'm still kind of old school. I haven't gotten the idea that everything's going to be digital. Though that appears to be the DC thing. DC, when they um, reorganized everything, it appears that they're going to really be going for digital delivery, though. And I think it's because their print versions aren't selling so hot. Well, this is what happens when you have $5, $6, $7 comics. It's like not like when I was a kid, where you go down and have 25 cents and be able to buy 2 comics. Yeah, I go across the street to the hospital, to the gift shop, and there'd be the comics on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I don't remember exactly when they came back then. I think it was back on Tuesdays and Thursdays, maybe Friday. There'd be new comics every week, and I'd go down there with a quarter. This is 1960, what, 67, something like that. Living across the street from a hospital, and I'd be able to buy 2 comics. If I had 50 cents, I could buy 4 comics. Now you're spending $20 for 4 comics. So yeah, your ability to buy is really messed up there. Of course, 25 cents was buying a lot more of 25 cents back then than you can now. You can't buy anything for 25 cents now. I don't know of anything you can buy for 25 cents now. Yeah. So I try to choose everything using CMYK, and to not get too bold with the colors, because I do know from my research that if you crank up the color too much, that in printing you'll get a weird effect where it looks where you also get this kind of murkiness to the color if you use way too much saturation. So I try not to get too saturated in the colors. And you might notice that the colors are not oversaturated, which also helps you control space. You control space with color, and just regular line drawing. Like you notice the lines are heavier in the foreground than they are in the background. And that helps me keep the colors consistent. So I change color schemes depending upon the chapter and the story. I have a different color scheme for the new wife, chapter 4. No, chapter 3 is the new wife. I have a different color scheme than I have for this one. I have a different color scheme for chapter 4, back to work. There's a slightly different color scheme for every chapter, just to separate them so they don't look like they're all blend together. And I have to enlarge that balloon. Ooh, it's 12:18. I'm gonna go grab myself a peanut butter sandwich. I'll be back in just a second. There I'm going. See? Now this guy's going to use a euphemism that is common in the South. Okay. So, I figure out where to put this balloon. I figured it out sooner or later. Everything happens sooner or later. But I got it. So, Here's a funny thing. I really learned color theory when I became a teacher. I didn't know much about color from undergraduate and graduate school. Um, Probably because it was 1971 that I was taught 2D design right out of high school. I didn't have much of a 2D design teacher. She didn't know anything about color either. So nobody talked about it in undergraduate school. They should be ashamed of themselves. Now I talk about it all the time. And even the Fauves with their wild color palettes from Matisse and Durain and those guys, they they had a very specific way of using that wild color. They weren't it wasn't an accident how they did it. Just like when you look at maps, there's only a certain number of colors you can use to get to create clarity in a map. Otherwise, there's no the map doesn't make any sense. So even that has a restricted color palette. Well, that doesn't have. It's all pure colors. I had to play around with these balloons here because they're crowding the text. So I'm going to probably add some ellipses up there eventually. What's going on, boy? I got a yappy dog. He's a wonderful dog.
What are you doing?
Here's a cat outside. It's death to all cats. He has never caught one ever. I don't know where he gets the idea. He never will. Better glad he's not on a leash. He'd be like the foghorn leghorn dog. So now I gotta give the text some room to breathe so you don't get caught up in the border of that text, the word balloon. Somehow I didn't. Anyway, to copy that again. And well, what am I doing over here? I want to fix those eventually. I hope so. I know I did because I see the dang thing. Anyway. Really spent a lot of time on this thing. Doopy doopy doop boop boop. So here we get to Paul protecting his boy. Here's a little bit of a developing backstory. Developing a little bit of backstory here. I won't tell you what the backstory is, but I'm developing a little bit of backstory here.
Barney, come.
These pointers are always fun. Did I do that right? Yep, I did it right this time. Okay. Now I gotta. Did I ever fix that? I hope I fixed that. I hear tell you was the closest to the killing yesterday. What'd you see? See, that's the way they say it. I hear tell you was the closest to the killing yesterday. What did you see? What'd you see? See, thankfully, the written word is a little more legible than an Arkansas accent. which I know because I was raised by a guy had an Arkansas accent. I can always go back and remember what Daddy said, and that'll give me what I want to say. I was born about 30 miles away from where Bill Clinton was born. And like Bill ever came back to Arkansas either, neither did I. I got lots of cousins in Arkansas. Fine people. Most of my first cousins are gone. Amazing. But I got a lot of children of my mother's first cousin. I know them, and they're all doing fine. Dibido. So I got this little. I had been working in Word, writing in Word, and Word's fine. Then I got InDesign. I created this little magazine called Taylor Fiction Zine, and then I outputted it to. I tried to output it to Kindle. It don't work with a hoot. Well, for some reason, people at Amazon have not figured out how to do these things. Gee. And I outputted it to EPUB as a Nook document. It looks exactly like the version in InDesign, exactly like it, including with a open source font, typewriter font. And they can't do that in Kindle. You guys, come on, you're the richest man in the world. Get on it. So, but I got this little open source. I like open source thing called Papyrus Author, and I'm going to check that out. It says it will output to Kindle. We'll see whether or not it does. Don't worry about it. Okay, I did that. Okay, now, but I had a real hard time getting this dang thing to give. There, now I got myself a lorem ipsum. Thank God for lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum. I've never met anybody named lorem ipsum. I'm gonna have to name one of my characters lorem ipsum someday. I'd like you to meet Lorem Ibsen. They're new in town. Anyway, now somebody will steal that idea from me. I can't imagine I'm the first one to have a character named Lorem Ibsen. Ibsen. They're new in town. Oh, okay. Well, using that big circular saw outside, I can hear it. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay, he looks big enough to speak his own mind. For some reason, I was having bandwidth problems right there. Doesn't last too long. Huh. Well, it doesn't look too horrible in there. Now I got it back. Okay. Oh, la, 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 la. Mhm. Okay. Okay, now we get on to, after this, we get to page 103, which is the last page that I have to format for uploading, which I've got a bunch uploaded last night and debuted this morning at 4 a.m., which is the usual time I debut new pages, 4 a.m. on a Monday. Okay, whose side are you on this here? I don't think I remember here. Everything you're doing when you're doing this stuff has everything to do with what can you fit into a word balloon. There's a certain limit, and so you have to. It's almost like poetry. You have to. You have to figure out how much you can put in and get your point across. June, this is International Black Cat Appreciation Day. Do you? Don't tell my dog. very angry. Hmm. Hmm. Dee-ba-boo. So people don't want him being on the side of the D-hammer boy. Picking sides, picking sides, picking sides. Tough when you have to pick a side. Especially when you don't like any of them. I don't like any of these people. Now, this guy who has, he's got a pair of cojones on him, goes and insults this guy who's 2 heads taller than he is. Oh, well, these things happen. Hmm. La da 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 da. Okay. Call them logger trash. Well, well, well. It's always a problem. Poor outsiders. Okay. Of course, I think that guy between them is a little more wise and probably says, I probably don't talk to him like that. Don't talk to him like that. Don't be talking to that guy like that. Did I do that on the right one? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Do. And then we, oh, I wanted it thinner. It's a little too thick. Okay. Okay, we're getting towards the end of this page. I got one more page to do and then put in the can. Tomorrow, color page 104. Then I have to draw page 105, which is another one of my lazy pages where I just didn't get around to it. I don't know why. I may do some redrawing on it. It's not perfectly the way I want, so we'll see. Okay. Do. So let me see. Back here, what am I looking at? Oh, I'm wanting to copy that so I don't have to do it twice. So I should have this thing completely online and ready to start transforming it into a print edition by October, though I may get out a version, a smaller version of this, the first couple of chapters, um, in a Kickstarter campaign. Then this would be my plan: is that I would set a very modest goal, uh, so that I know I get it. And that would be just like a 28 page, the first chapter. And then if I exceeded that goal and got to a stretch goal, I would add the second chapter, and then I just keep on the stretch goals until I get up to, let's say, half the book. Which, that's a pretty that's a good amount of money you would have to take to get half the book. Getting the whole book would be a huge one. That would be very surprising. What the heck was that? Um, and and then I would now I'm this is to like 100 page 100. This is 103. So this would be in the second. If I got everything I wanted to do, this would be in the second um, installment book. And my, best of all possible worlds, I'd have a 152 page graphic novel that would have everything in the whole book. That would be really cool. But that's asking an awful lot. We'll see what happens. It's been known to happen in the past. We'll see. But I'd need a significant amount of money to be able to do that. So right now I'm just, I made a boo boo here. And I noticed that here is that when I imported this, I forgot to put my tone layer. So I have to go over to Photoshop and get that back. So I'll come over here to Photoshop. Here I am. Okay, here I am in Photoshop, and I forgot to. Here I am. There we are. Okay, and then the tone layer. I have to. Yeah, I got. Okay. Okay, now I put that in there, and now I got it. Come on. There. That's what I wanted to do. See how that bright blue-green color kind of unifies a lot of the page, causes a lot of cool things to happen, makes your eye move around. I don't engage in like the kind of modern page design where people do just wild kind of stuff simply because I'm not doing superhero stuff. I'm not doing science fiction. I'm not doing galactic invasions and stuff like that. This is just people going and trying to sell the hog and the cow. It doesn't need these wild um, page designs. I think it would make the story very confusing. So I don't do that. And that's the primary reason I don't. I think it would confuse the entire confuse the story. It would make it just I'd just be doing it to show off my chops and pages and stuff like that. I am an old follower of Alex Toth, and his motto was simplify, simplify, simplify. Keep it simple uh, so that you can make out what the story's about. He didn't always do that, and maybe sometimes I don't either, but at least that's the goal. Keep it simple enough so you can actually understand what the heck's going on in the story. Lorem Ipsum. He's new in town. See, he's 12 years old, and we ain't on nobody's side. Well, that's a good way to get a pistol pointed at you. So I'll be back in a second. I just keep on watching the video. I don't have any. I don't have any sound going on here. What's the sound? No, I wasn't saying anything. I think I was concentrating. I'm gonna put this on mute while I go take a break. I'll be back in a second. Okay, as we'll get back on my exercise bands. It's a pretty cool invention. It's about as simple as it gets. One of the few uses of plastics that's actually, no, this is probably rubber. Ooh. Ooh. That's good. And you just double it as you go along, create a lot more resistance. You just sit here and you're do the equivalent of a man my age who lifted weights. I think I used to do this for hours. That's crazy. Oh, well, when you're young, you do all types of stuff. We had a great weightlifting room at Pratt. I had machines and free weights. Do 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 do. Okay. Hey, it worked. Laura Mipson showed up. Doody doo doo doo. Okay. Boy, howdy. That's one of my old. It's no country thing. Exclamation. Boy, howdy. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, yeah. This guy. Do do do. Okay, I got a discrete layer for that text. Okay, now we just have to increase the size of, I don't do that. Increase the size of the balloon. So first thing to do is see if you can just increase its size. And all you have to do is, bring this down a little bit. Oh boy. Okay. Ow! Yeah, I misspelled that. I caught it. I went back and said, wait a second, that's not what I wanted to say there. I got the he's mixed up. Hope I didn't leave it like that. Yeah, come on. Fix that. Okay. Some of these places I move what I wanted in my script. I wanted a character to be saying something in one panel, and I said, okay. Then I condensed it down to being in just another panel so that it flows better and makes a little more sense. And I think this right here conveys enough of the animosity that's going on there towards outsiders. These guys didn't grow up there. I don't have to say anything. I'm gonna have to point it out. You can say it non-verbally. Now I go over here to the image in Photoshop, and I cited this guy. He's got a 12-year-old named Elmer. He's probably hasn't got white hair. Gotta watch out for that, all that white hair stuff. That might be Elmer over to his side. Doop. 3 hours, 17 minutes. I think I can go on for another 30 minutes or so before I get all this fixed. Because I have to output this to web pages and everything. I included that. Save it. Okay, I got it. Okay, on to the next panel. I only have one, two, three, four. They all pretty much have something to say in these panels, but not a whole lot. It's not. I'm not getting verbose, I think. Let me show that for a second. Do you have a technique to choose the colors? Thank you for that comment, Mauricio. And here's the deal. I use CMYK in the color picker and avoid K, black. It muddies colors. Neutral colors are best made using the three primaries. Try 20% cyan, 35% magenta, and 40% yellow. See what you get. It is a neutral color that tends towards one of the primaries or secondary colors. Do. So, okay, my Elmer, my Elmer's his age. I'll catch that sooner or later. It's supposed to be my Elmer's his age, and he's shorter than his sister. And I fixed that in a second, I think. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh, okay, I fixed that. Okay, now I'll lock that. Now go on to this one. This is panel 3 text 1. I think I only used one of them in this. I thought at one point I was going to use 2, and I keep getting that thing. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Why I keep getting those things. Probably somebody knows what it is. Somebody knows more about Illustrator than I do. I use Illustrator for word balloons and stuff like that. I had considered drawing in Illustrator, but it's such a mechanical line. It's such a cold, unfeeling mechanical line. I can't get into it. At least the way I use it. Other people probably use it a lot more intelligently than I do, but that is for me. So now I gotta go over here and try it again. Laura Mibson, we need your help, Laura Mibson. No, that didn't work either. Nope, didn't work. Nope, didn't work. Help me, Laura Mibson. You're our only hope. There we are, Laura Mibson. Thank you. Hey, pay them no mind, son. Doodly doodly doot doot doot. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Party cheese? Cheese party.
Cheese is one of our bribes we use the dog. When we do something, get him some cheese. He actually understands the word cheese now. All we have to do is say cheese, and he comes out from underneath the the place, the den that he has concocted for himself underneath the furniture. I don't think he responds to queso, but cheese he gets. You have to be careful too, because if you say the word cheese out loud and everything, he'll come up to you and he'll expect you to honor your commitment. So you have to be watching out because he's a demanding dog. You know, we were only created to rub his belly and feed him. And that may be true. Actually not true, but that's what he thinks. See, I was doing this 9:15 last night. Oh, we got how much more we got to go? We got 23 minutes to go. Ooh, 23 minutes. Lordy. One of the things I would say to Mauricio, you ask, how do you create a character? Um, don't make them too muscle bound. Don't not too much muscles, unless they're Hercules or some kind of. But even with superpowers, uh, depends on what you want to do. I don't know. Most everybody's doing superpowered people or vampires or something like that. Just say this over and over again to yourself. You're in my power. That's a vampire. You in my power. And then go from there. Who would be saying, you are in my power? There's your vampire. Walking Dead? I don't know. I haven't watched The Walking Dead. I've never watched The Walking Dead. There's a lot of stuff on television I don't watch. I, you know, I saw The Last Man on Earth, Vincent Price. I don't need to watch the rest. That was a Peter Matheson. I think it was Peter Matheson. I think it was Last Man on Earth. Let me see if it was Peter Matheson. Matheson, American. No, it was. Okay. No, Matheson, science fiction. It wasn't Peter. I've forgotten his first name. Richard Matheson, that's stupid me. Yeah, Richard Matheson wrote I Am Legend. Yeah. Yeah. That's all the great vampire stuff really comes out of this guy right there. Of course, it's Bram Stoker and stuff like that, but Richard Matheson, man, he could write a good science fiction story. He's good. Yeah, I like old Richard Matheson. I think he wrote that Twilight Zone that William Shatner was in. The guy who was on the plane and he looked out and I guess he realized this thing was going to crash or something like that. And Richard Matheson, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful author. So he an adaptation of that book was starred Vincent Price, late 50s, early 60s, The Last Man on Earth. He's the last person who wasn't infected with a vampire virus. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That scared the living daylights out of you. And, well, we all do. Let me see. Yeah, the paperback by Corgi Books. Woo. This may be the most terrifying novel you will ever read. William Campbell Gaunt. Wow. I Am Legend. Boy, I remember that one so well. And it's available. Interesting. Wow. Anyway, yeah. So that went well, but people are asking about the murder. Yeah, we got what we wanted here. Do 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 do. Huh. So yeah, I looked up I Am Legend on. I don't think I have it in my collection anymore. You move around all the years from all the way from Missouri to New York to Florida, you'll lose a few books. A lot of stuff I still have, but my first comic strip that I did in 1972, I still have that, the whole thing. Hobo Stories somehow I got some of the originals got away from me. In fact, I on a Facebook group, underground Facebook group, and I was mentioning that. He said, "Oh, I have one of your originals." I said, "What?" Well, at least I know where they went. I let them go for a song at one time. I don't know why I did it. Okay, I have to enlarge that a tiny bit. Okay, they weren't too nice about it either. That's what happens sometimes. Well, it's lunchtime and everybody's probably gone off to get a bite. I did that about an hour ago. People and grandpa's got some good advice, as grandpas do. Paws and grandpas are almost always right. Okay, one little part. One little part. Then I'll just be outputting these pages for the web. But if you don't know how to do that, well, then this is a good place to learn. Avoid gatherings. Time was when I was doing this. Dang. 9:27. Not too bad. Not too bad. I guys able to get a decent night's rest. Strange how in comic book lettering, everything is, because you have word balloons and balloons being round, all the justification is centered. Boy, what a task old Artie Simic had to do every month. Probably for a lot of comics. Come on. One more time, but oh, come on. But I don't have to fix that if I left it like that. Hope it didn't. Boy. Hopefully I didn't have the word head. Oh, not. Yeah. Okay. I hope I saw that. Yeah. No, I didn't. Oh, boy. Okay, it's page 103. This is the last page of the week.
Knees. Hurting.
Okay, we don't want to have maybe 7 minutes left for this. Then I'll call it a day. I think I just blended these all together. Yeah, let's blend them all together. See if he still covets that hog. Hope you know what the word covets means. It's just he is desiring it. He's envying anybody who owns that hog. That's what coveting means. It's a form of envy, seeking possession. Okay, now we'll put the copyright notice on there. And it worked. Now, lock that. Lock it. There, I think I locked it. Did I lock it? Okay, now. Export to screens. This is page 101. If I do it as a ping 8-bit, I can reduce the size of it. It's not so huge a file. Okay, got that. Calm down, boy. Ooh. Okay, where am I now? Oh, now I'm going to export this. Okay, now I got two of them. So that's part of what I got done. I got page 100 also. Right here, I'm doing a screen capture. Silly idea of mine. Yep, so I'm doing screen capture. That's where it is over there on the lower right hand.
Oh,
Guess it's some kind of new feature in Catalina. They actually show you what you did. And I got about 55 seconds to go. In those 55 seconds, I think I export page 100. Yeah, I go to page 100 and I exported that also. And I exported that thing. And here it is. And I'm about done. Got about 7 seconds to go. Then I'll do a little preview of what's going on around here. Finished. So let's reduce you. Okay. I'll reduce you. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Anyway, NCYS can't do anything but love NCYS. So I'm gonna go over here to the new pages at blueboybrown.com. Go get yourself some of that. Right down there, there's the URL. And here, I'll put it in the comment for all destinations. So you know where to get it. Go to it. Okay. And so we got this. This is the first page this week. Then next page. Let's see if this all works. This page is called 100 Hitched. Get in there. Next. Do it. Okay, it's doing it. Okay. Then cut a plug. Page 101. Cut a plug. Please subscribe to our newsletter. And then the next page is Logger 102, Logger Trash. People are always nice. I should reduce the size of this a little bit so you can actually see the whole thing. Yep. And then it's the last one for this week, I believe. Yeah. So I worked out all right. So tomorrow, what I'll be doing is page 104, which is this thing here. Oh, you stop it. Always This is what I'll do tomorrow. I'll probably draw on it some. And then after that's page 105. I don't know where the heck I put that. Open page 105. Where is it? Huh. Page 105. Where did I put page 105? I already did page 105. Huh. How about, yeah. Well, page 105 I already did. So then I'd be doing page 104 and then 114. 114. Where's page 114? Do I have it anywhere? I don't think I have it anywhere. I got it somewhere. Page 114. Maybe I haven't even fixed it yet. Scans. Where is it? Page 114. I don't think I've scanned page 114. Well, I have to do that. Okay. Yep. So, well. So we will be back. Let me just get rid of all this. Be back tomorrow. Okay. Where's page 114? Oh, this is page 114, I think. No, this is page 106. I haven't done page 106. Yeah, I did. I did page 106. Let me see. Page 106. Page 106. Ready for Illustrator. Page 106. That would just really tick me off if I didn't do page 106. Oh. Page 106. I don't think I've done it. Okay, I've got a lot to do. Why did I do all this other stuff? I tell you, I'm getting to be an old man, getting confused all the time. So I cleared all up. So lots to do. So I will see you tomorrow. And it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Isn't that crazy? So I will see you tomorrow on the other side and have a good one. Okay. Bye bye.